Welcome to our continuing series, Interviews with Disciples and Devotees. Today, we are very happy to have Ananda Reddy with us for the second visit. Namaste.
Thank you so much.
So, you were last talking about the books that Mother gave you.
Yes.
In those days, in your teenage days, did you visit with her, see her about specific questions or difficulties?
Yes. Yes. This was maybe the outer growth, the contact with the mother through books. But the inner difficulties is a thing that was happening parallelly, obviously, apart from the weakness in French. Then as I grew up, maybe age 18, 19, I think then the problems, the inner problems came up. Now, what is that inner problems? Not that I had disharmony with friends, but somewhere I would say an unease. Already I began to feel the unease with the outer life. Not that I was unhappy, no, I wouldn't say. But somewhere something was missing. And then I said that I needed something more.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what it is, I didn't know what I'm missing. But then, as I said, I think the word, if I can use today, is wanting to belong to her. So this aspiration came up that I want to belong to the mother. How and all that I have no idea. But this was the awakening that kind of started bothering me. So I used to write to her, I began writing to her that many a time, through birthdays, through letters, and sometimes even through the vital problems that started emerging. I would rather ask her to purify me, to see that, I did not get into any of the vital problems. But behind all that, so that I may belong to you. Let me be pure so that I may belong to you, so that I may be worthy of you. And this aspiration began very early. And before that, I'd like to tell you one missing chapter. Is from the age of 12 or 13, I had a dream contact, maybe, as we say, the subtle physical was open, I don't know what. I used to have glimpses of many gods in my dreams. I mean, it was quite, I wouldn't say the word normal, but quite many times. I used to see Shiva and Sri Krishna and Goddess Lakshmi, Durga and even Aurobindo. So I used to write to her, I said, Ma, I've seen these in my dreams. So she would confirm, and she says, yes, you have seen them because they are in the subtle physical. And Aurobindo also is in the subtle physical. You can all visit him, you can see him. So what you have seen is not something wrong, you have seen it rightly. So somewhere I developed some kind of an opening toward this subtle physical divinities. And in those days, maybe it was, I forget the year, 66, 67. Once when I went to the mother on my birthday, I did my pranam. When I looked up, I didn't see the mother. I saw Durga. I was dazzled, but I was not shocked. Durga sitting with the 12 arms or 10 arms. I just had a little... I was looking at her, there's no mother, but there was this Durga. I mean, it took me time, I was, frozen, took me time. Then of course I got back to my mother and did pranam. And after coming down, immediately I shot back a letter to her saying, was it a hallucination or what is it, mother? I said, mother, did I see Durga or was it my imagination? She wrote back, sans doute as-tu vu Durga. Without doubt, you saw Durga. She wrote down, I'll show you the
You
letter
have the
later.
letter, yes.
I said, mother, so grateful to you that I had the real darshan of Durga, where millions of Bengalis and people around the world. And she gave a free gift to me on my birthday, a vision of the Durga. And of course, afterwards, I've seen, read many people. Many people have seen the mothers in different forms. And in fact, my own father, when he used to come in the early days, he was in the Golconda those days, it seems. He was writing something. And once he had all the four darshan of the four forms of the mother, one after the other, he wrote to the mother. Again got it confirmed. So I know mother has given this vision and this boon, if I can call it. However, in my personal life, that was one of my most magnificent darshans I had. Very live. And in the mother is not in my dream, right sitting in front of me. And one more thing that is with the mother is when we used to go to the mother slowly, that was a point of offering the lower being, the lower part of my personality. Because there I felt that here was a wonderful chance to purify myself by giving up my lower being, my desires, my passions, or my whatever is troubling my vital or mental. So what I used to do is, because sometimes what used to happen, I wanted to pray and tell her, but when I went in front of her, I used to forget everything. I was to be just on her feet. And a couple of times I realized that I didn't tell her what I wanted to tell her. So I said, no, better what I'll do is I write a day before prayer, a letter. The mother, I'm coming tomorrow at this time, you have told me. But this is my prayer, this is what I want to ask from you and all that. So that I was sure that she would remember that what I wanted. And there's one very particular darshan. It was in the music room of the mother, if you know, just behind the terrace darshan. Behind the terrace darshan balcony is there. Just behind that was the mother's music room where she used to play the organ. So some years, I don't know why and the reason, the afternoons she used to get the darshan there, not in her own private chamber. So one or two afternoons I had darshan there. And on one such darshan, I wrote in advance about my problem and all that. And when I went and sat in front of her, I looked up into her eyes, and I did the pranam. And when I looked back, I was about to open my mouth to ask her that, Mother, I had written a letter to you. Even before I could ask her, she said, she had the envelope with an answer. She said, you see, she didn't say the word, but she showed me it's here. And then, that was the only time and the first and the last time when I did a pranam on her knees. Normally we did a pranam on her feet. But that if I were an artist or a painter, I would have drawn that image. I held both her knees and she was like that. I put my head there with both my palms. And then the beauteous thing was, she put both her hands on my head. And she touched it and she squeezed it and, she held them, that was my closest contact. And never had such a darshan. I don't know what she gave me that day, but That was immaculate. That never got repeated. I was on her knees. She put both the hands. She held me like that. And of course, I don't remember what the problem was. But the way she took me, she embraced me. I think it will last me lives, what she has given me that day. Well, that was, those are those moments which I think I built up my inner being. Because externally, whatever I was growing up as a student and all that was one thing. But these are my inner steps of my ladder, of the growth of my consciousness. And then she has been guiding me. So I was one of those students who write to her for purification, for aspiration, for belonging to her. And in those days, I used to read literature. There's one poet I still forget. The first line was, "Break, blow and burn my being." But that line hit me so well, I said, "Ma, this is what I want you to do." So I wrote the line to her. I said, "Ma, break, blow and burn my being. That's what I want to be." That was my perfect aspiration. So I wrote to her. What I mean is, the aspiration was becoming more and more intense. Wanted to belong to her, be her servitor, and these darshans were there. So with all these things, some of the inner problems I had, basically not that age, you have the vital urges, vital problems. Nothing of the ambition, I wanted to become this, nothing of the sort. But as a young man, I think...
Typical youth problems.
Yeah.
Yes.
Youth problems, that's the right word.
Yes.
Typical youth problems. But at least I knew that here was a person who would take away those problems, he would absolve me from all that. So I had my full faith that only giving to the mother would be the only solution, because I cannot resist my youth problems. But there's one more thing that in the same thing I would like to narrate is when I had just about to finish the higher course in 1969. At that time it happened that my father was in Chicago at a university called Chicago. There's a university, I forget the name. He was a visiting professor there. And so I was about to finish in 69 my higher course, and I thought of going further for education, 2 years. So father said, well, I can send you an application form. Those days no email, physically he had to send me forms and all that. And the president, he said, yes, most welcome, send your application to your son. If it is good enough, we can take him. So the application forms were sent to me by post. And when I received them, there was a deadline. By 26th January, they should go back to the office. Date of submission, last date was that. And unfortunately, just those days, mother was not well enough to see the letters or to receive any letters. So I said, what do I do? I said, no, let the work go on, I can tell her later. So I filled up the application forms, and there are references and all that. My Kirit Joshi and Arindam Basu and others, they gave a recommendation, everything high class and blah, blah, blah. I mean, nothing I'm missing from my side. So I did all that with all the references, recommendation. I put them in an envelope. I posted it. Because I said, now this has to go within the next 10 days back to Chicago, and it's Ohio University. Ohio University. So I did that. But somewhere I felt it's still incomplete. I said, let me do my work. I've sent off the applications. Now I should write to the mother that this is what I've done. And I told her, because of the lack of time and all that, I have send the application. But mother, the last decision is yours, whatever you want me to do. But because I couldn't wait, I didn't know if you were going to see. And saying that, in the morning I went and gave it to Nolnida. All my letters I would give him to be taken to mother. So normally they would keep it for a week, 10 days. Sometimes whenever they got time, they would show it to the mother. I said, Nolnida, take whatever time you want to. In my letter I had said, Mother, this is what I have done. And maybe it was the end of January, 27, 28. I said, Mother, on 10th of February is my birthday. And I'm sure by then you can give me some reply, because there's still 10 days to go. So I said, I'll await for 10th of December, 10th of February. And that day, I was in the sports ground doing some games or something. Somebody comes and tells, Anand Nolnida is calling you. I has called you. I said, Nolnida has called me? There was a bit of anxiety, and after the group I ran to him. He said, Anand, this is mother's answer. I was shocked. As in the morning I gave, by evening I got the answer. I couldn't believe it. He said, take it. So I went to in front of Mother Pandit's office and read there the letter. And I'll show you that letter. I mean, that was a tremendous eye-opener. It was a completely shifting of my life. I mean, because of that letter, I'm here, sitting here today. I'll show you the original, but the contents were something like that, not exactly. That if you want success in your life, success and fame in your life, you go to America and try your best. But if you want to belong to the new consciousness that is coming down, stay here, prepare yourself. I want your answer on your birthday. My God, she reverting, she says, I want your answer on your birthday. And that was too much. And I said, Ma, is that a choice you are giving me? It's like Columbus discovering a new India and the old India. She said, if you want to participate in the new consciousness that's descending, be here and prepare yourself. I said, Mother, there's no choice. Whatever is the big America, whatever. No, I said, that's the old world. You are giving me a visa and a passport to the new world, and I missed that. I said, no way. I went back to Kirit Joshi. I said, please give me a reference. He had to give me. Then I told him, I said, look, this is what the mother said. Thank you for all the help, but I'm not going. I decided. Because Kirit Joshi understood that. And there it was. Within about 4 or 5 days later, there was a summons to me from Pavitrada. Pavitrada was that very strict head of the institution. We hardly ever used to speak to him. Nolnida, Amritada, all this were friendly enough, but Pavitrada was very strict. And at least in the eyes of the children, he was kind of an unapproachable person. But he calling you, man, I had shivers in my knees. I think. Because that was most unexpected. Even Nolni, I knew that maybe must be because of my letter. So 10 o'clock, I rushed. I went to his office. So it's a big table. I don't know if you have seen Pavitrada's table in his office. There's a garage, where mother's garage is there.
Mm-hmm.
On the left side is this room, So I went to he's a huge table like that, and it's my 6 by 6 or 6 by 5. So I sat across. He took out from his drawer a letter, pushed it. He said, "Is this your letter?" I said, "Yes, but that is my letter. I sent it to US. It has come back from Bombay post. It has come back from post office from Bombay." I said, "Why?" "I don't know. Take it." That day I think I broke down in tears. I said, "Ma, this much you look after me, how can I believe?" that you didn't let my letter cross this country.
Yes, yes,
Because you know I will never go there.
yes.
And then the way she answered me immediately, it was obvious that she didn't want me to go out. It's very, very confirming that I shouldn't be going out. Not only my decision, her decision was also there, that I should not cross these boundaries. So I showed it to everyone and I said, I wrote a letter immediately to Father saying that this is what has happened. So you thank the President for his offer. But Mother has decided I'll not go. So there comes the 10th of February, and I was happy because my decision was made. But I had to tell her on that birthday. I said, Mother, I'm not going. I've decided to stay here and prepare myself. And she was happy, As if she got a bouquet from me, a birthday gift, It's like, she got back her lost child, our person who would be losing himself. It's like gaining a child for her own work. It's that kind of a joie, And she laughed and smiled. And then she told me a few things. But then she said, I will take care of your spiritual and material growth. You be here. She said, I'll take care of your spiritual and material growth. What more did I want, Narad?
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
10 Americas won't equal one sentence from her. So I said, we just we see.
What was knowledge like for you?
Yeah. Now this is the internal journey that I did almost till the end of 69. In fact, 69 was the end of knowledge. But during knowledge days also, there was a different story that happened. It is in knowledge that for the first time I started reading Savitri. Before that, we used to read a lot the Mother. I learned most of the book by heart. But Savitri was completely unknown. In the sense, we used to read 1st December programs on the theatre, some passages being...
Yes, acting them out.
All that. But it was never a thing of living contact with me, anything. So one of those times when we started learning it with Temiben. She was my first teacher. And then when I started reading and studying and getting the rasa of Savitri, again my youthful ambition came up and I wrote a letter to the Mother. I had the book by then, signed by her. And maybe next year. But during that time, I wrote a letter saying that, Mother, you see, in our ancient Indian tradition, people learned Mahabharata and Ramayana and Gita, all of them they used to learn by heart. I would like to learn Savitri by heart, if I have your blessings. And so, with a couple of days comes the answer that you can learn it by heart, purview, on condition that you have the perseverance. If you have the perseverance, you will be able to do. And then, this is again, maybe I should write a autobiography, the 3 boons of my life, This was a boon. The last part of this letter, she said, that tu peux compter sur moi pour comprendre Savitri dans sa signification magnifique et profonde. You can count on me to understand Savitri in its magnificent and profound significance. I said, Mother, I never asked this boon from you. I was just asking for your blessings to learn it by heart. But this was unasked for, unimagined for, when she said, "You can count on me to understand Savitri."
Yes.
I didn't know what it meant because it's too much of a burden that to understand Savitri, how can I? And then she says, "Tipo conte sur moi." Well, that was the boon I kept. And long many years later, once when I spoke to Temeban, I said, "Temeban, I'm grateful to you for teaching me Savitri because whatever you have taught me, revealed, those have remained with me." And this is what the mother told me. She couldn't believe it. She said, "Ananda, I want to see the original." So I took a Xerox copy of my original letter. She couldn't believe that she had given this boon to somebody. I mean, because she was the first person in the ashram to teach Savitri. Mother had asked her to teach Savitri.
Yes, yes.
So when she saw that this boon was given to me, and then she said, "Anand, you come to me in the Golconda every year. Every day I used to go at 4 o'clock to Golconda to her room. And we revised whole of Savitri once again. Only she with me alone. She went through the passages. And then this boon became active in my life when I returned from Bangkok. There was an opportunity, the Society International Guest House. There used to be a small class that was being taken by Maheshwari. And Maheshwariji had gone to Anand in Gujarat to chair a Aurobindo chair in one of the universities. So there's a kind of a vacuum. He suddenly left them overnight, and so Krishna auntie, who was in charge of the International Guest House, she once asked me, "Ananda, it seems you have done studies in Aurobindo, why don't you take essays on the Gita?" Because that's what Maheshwariji was doing. With hesitation, I said, "Okay, I'll start with that." Then after a month or so, the proposition came, "Why don't you take Savitri? We like your classes, we understand so much." I said, "Savitri?" I said, "No, no question. I cannot take class in Savitri." I said, "No." I said, "No. That is something is too sacred, too high, too beyond. I cannot take. You can ask me essays on the Gita, even the Life Divine, I will try, but Savitri is too beyond. I'll never touch it." But then this letter came to me with a force. Then I felt so foolish. She said, "Tipo compte sur moi. So why am I thinking I will teach Savitri?" I said, "No, this is the time to put her into test."
Yes.
So that revived me the challenge. I said, "No, the challenge is hers. If I can open and pray and say, 'Ma, I depend on you. It's not me who's going to teach.'" That gave me the confidence. I said, "No, this is the time when I can put that blessing into action." And so I told Krishna, "Okay, auntie, I will try, because this is the blessings I have. This is the promise I've been given. So now, based on this promise, I will surely take, because it's a test between me and the mother now. How much I can depend, how much she can give me." So that gave me the courage to start the Savitri classes. Later on at Hall of Harmony, I took for several years. And that's how I went through the entire Savitri. Whole of Savitri has been recorded. Sakar and Hall of Harmony. All the 12 books, everything.
You recorded all your talks?
All my talks are recorded. So I narrated all this only to tell you that this was a boon, and which I put into action. It's not just a blessing in my letters. And then I said, "Ma, it's not only here. Now I say the same prayer to every book that I'm going to take in the class.
Yes.
Why should it be only Savitri?" So I prayed the same thing when I taught Life Divine, when I taught Essays on the Gita or The Mother Synthesis. So that book and that boon has taken me much closer, and that has been my conscious sadhana, that I must receive, I must depend. Tipo compte on moi, sur moi. So that is how my surrender started coming more and more active, that I must depend on her, not only to understand this, everything in life, I must surrender, I must. So this one was my active life of sadhana. The American letter, again turning my life to stay here and to prepare myself. And in the last year, 69, when I was about to leave or just leaving the higher course, one day, end of the day, because at that time we could write to her and say, Mother, my higher course is done, I want to come and have it. It's not just a birthday, any time I could take her. So once, towards the end, maybe the last darshan, or last time, I said, Mother, I'm going to Hyderabad to help my father. We have the Institute of Human Study that my father was given. So it's more to help. It's not that I was shifting because I had already decided to stay back and not to go to Hyderabad. Even though my father was asking me to come and help him in institution to build. He was wanting the son to take over. But I said, no, you see, my destiny has been chosen and I cannot leave the place. But I'll come to help you. On that day, I asked the mother one more thing. I said, here, Mother, we pray for anything at the Samadhi and we get a response sooner or later. But I'm going to Hyderabad now. We don't have a physical Samadhi there. How do you ask for help? Your help. She said, no, the divine is everywhere. The divine will help you wherever you are. But here, we have been here. Sri Aurobindo and myself, we have prepared the atmosphere for the realization of the soul. So be here and realize your soul. That was again another boon. When she said, Sri Aurobindo and myself, we have prepared the atmosphere for the realization of the soul. So be here and realize your soul. I mean, realizato nam. And those are not words. There's a power behind that. There's a possibility behind that.
Yes.
And then I said, so this is slowly how my destiny was being shaped. Not to go to America, to be here, to prepare for the new consciousness, to realize the soul. And then your action would be again to depend on me, to understand Sri Aurobindo, to spread Sri Aurobindo, to teach Sri Aurobindo, whatever. And then there was one more eye-opener. I was like, it's all happened between 1964 to 69, these 4 or 5 years. Again on a birthday, I was with her and I asked her some question which I forget. Normally what I used to do was, that's why I'm so close to what I'm relating to, is when I returned home from after the darshan, I would immediately note down what happened. I mean, what I asked the mother and what she replied. So all her answers were really, within an hour or two, it was all written down. So I have the drafts of what happened. It's been, I went to Aurobindo after that and I didn't have much thing and I didn't have place to keep. So some of these notes have been lost, although the original ones I kept in this file. So I asked her some question and then she started explaining to me the difference between reality and appearance. Imagine high philosophic questions. What is reality and what is appearance? What is the reality of this life and the divine? She was sitting like that because we always sat in front like that. She was there. And she was in this position and looking at me, It was very kind of a very intimate,
Yes,
very intimate
yes.
speaking to each other,
Yes.
I mean, I should say today it's like Krishna speaking to Arjuna about the philosophy of life. And I was there looking at her and then she says, people are born, they grow up, And when they grow up, they're very busy doing things, achieving things. And then they get married, they have children, they follow their profession. In between, sometimes something says, "Voilà, je suis. Here am I." But they don't have time to listen to this voice. Somebody says, "Voilà, je suis," that look at me too. But people who don't have time. They grow up, they have children, they settle their children, they grow up, retirement comes. And after the retirement, they say, "No, I have time for going to temples and this pilgrimage and that pilgrimage." But then she spoke with a sad note. But at that age, what have they got to give to the divine? Everything is lost. Mind is exhausted, vitally you are nothing, physically, body is not anything. So she said, what have they got to give to the divine at that age? And I tell you, I still remember it was a continuous talk for 11 minutes, which I never ever had in my life with the mother and me alone. And then, it's a very sad note, I can still hear her sad note. So then she said, so spirituality must be lived when one is young. Spirituality must be lived when one is young. Because in my youth I have everything to give to the divine. A beautiful body, a beautiful vital, a beautiful mind, beautiful prayer. But the being is not exhausted and squeezed all the time you are old. So spirituality must begin when one is young. You see, again, this was my highlights of my life. When she really said spirituality, then this question of the Savitri, then this question of going to America. So these are the lampposts of my life which have really kept me to her work, kept me to Pondicherry, kept me to my life's ambition of prayer. So this has been more or less the highlights of my inner life. The external life, yeah, there are other things what you're saying that we can speak about later, Sakar and all that. But what's most important, this inner journey, and maybe for the day I'll speak one more sentence. After the mother left her body, I used to be very close to Nalnida and Champaklalji. Very, very close. Every evening I used to go to Champaklal's room and I used to talk and he would write on the notes. So one day he said, Ananda, you should write your autobiography. I said, Champaklalji, me, what's big about it? He says, no, not for yourself. So that the younger generation can benefit from what you got from the mother. So you write an autobiography. I did start writing that, but life was never so regular. But maybe Champaklalji's advice came through you today. So that's why I'm narrating the whole
This is what I believe. This is what I fully believe.
So this is purely for the sake of the younger generation. Whatever yes. I have benefited. Yes. Now he says it will benefit the younger generation.
In future talks, I would be very grateful if you could speak about Nalini, Champaklal, Aurobindo Basu, whom I have not had the honor to interview because I came to this too late. So
we'll try. I'll
your
see
insights would be wonderful. Could we see a few of the letters from Mother in conclusion?
And there's one thing that I wanted to tell you which I missed saying. I know in the beginning we should write this kind of letter to the mother. I mean, so we would write to Dusmer and then Ananda, sender's name.
Yes.
So So she would put back like this, she was that, dusme, two. Now this is just, she reverses. This is to dusme, there's another letter that says to dusme from Ananda. She would cut the to and from, she would say Ananda
She did it with me
That's
also.
the same thing,
Yeah.
isn't it? So those days, in the beginning, maybe 63, 64, I sent letters like that without an A here. It was only Anand, A-N-N-D.
Mm.
So in one of the letters when I got this envelope back, she added the A here.
Ah, that's what you were going to tell me.
So then I said,
Yes.
my God. And then, until then, she also wrote A-N-N-D in first couple of years. Then when the day she added this A, she also remembered to always put an A. She never went back to Anand. Then I said, wow, this is the name I got from her.
Yes.
The difference, Ananda is happiness. Anand is happiness, Ananda is bliss.
Yes.
One is the physical, material joy and pleasures,
Yes.
and the other is the spiritual.
Yes.
So there I got the meaning. I said, well, she's turning me to the spiritual.
You can zoom.
This was the normal way to the mother, from Ananda Reddy, date.
Mm-hmm.
She would cut out from and then put.
Yes.
When I was in Aurobindo, I used to write on Aurobindo letterhead like that.
Mm-hmm. What a treasure.
Yeah. You see how she just read, Ma, I greatly want to come to see you. She would say 13th at 10 a.m., you know. Give the time and that. You know, I was pretty naughty there because I had my sister and my cousins. So another excuse to go to the mothers, I would say, Ma sir, chela mein adu fear, you know, fear. This is feverish. So I would like to come with you on her birthday because she is not well. So bien, tipo pronta sera. Oh no, this is so incredible. Dus me permettez-nous de la prendre à l'hôpital général pour avoir une chèque général. Because at that time we are not supposed to go to general hospital.
Mm-hmm.
So I wrote to her for the permission. So she said, yes, you can take her to us. Now every little thing. Hey, where is that thing? And I had written about our President Kennedy also when she passed away.
Oh, really?
That's her answer for that.
Oh, that I would like to see.
Oh, maybe this one. See? This is when I was still in the hostel. She just sent me that first prize, you know.
Ah, that was the first
That's
prize.
the first prize. So that is the. Okay, Nels, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure to go back into her memory, you know.